Are the clumps of hair at the bottom of your shower normal or not? We need to talk about hair shedding versus hair thinning, because one of them is normal and one of them is not. And specifically, if you're stressed, if there are things going on in your life like there are in mine, or if you just find that your hair doesn't look or feel the way it used to, you might want to get this checked out, because prevention is always easier than treatment. And yes, I have literally had like a giant rodent at the bottom of my shower by the time I'm done. And I look at this clump of hair and I know that I'm supposed to lose like X amount of hairs a day, but this gigantic ball of fluff is like a stress goblin, and it's looking at me with its hairy little eyes. And it's like it's judging me for losing all of this hair. So we're gonna talk about when this is normal, when this is not, and as proven by science, what you can do about it. And we're working with iRestore on a portion of this video because they are dermatologist and trichologist approved. And remember, you always need to go see a dermatologist for a diagnosis. Hair loss can happen for many reasons, and if you don't know the root of the cause, it can be very hard to treat. There are medical options and over-the-counter options to stop it, but before we get to stopping the hair loss, we have to discuss what's normal and what's not. You see, hair shedding is normal. It's normal for us to lose hair every day, but hair thinning is not. It's not normal for us to have anagen effluvium, or basically hair that doesn't grow back, or telogen effluvium, where it just falls out in clumps. Now, when it comes to normal amounts of hair loss, our hair is constantly going through cycles, the ACT cycle and an exogen cycle where the hairs get released. And when the hairs get released, about 80 to 100 a day can end up at the bottom of our shower. And as you can see, if you or I have long hair, there's gonna be a much larger clump than someone who has shorter hair. But at the same time, when is that clump excessive? And how do you know if something's going wrong that you should be concerned about? The first thing you want to look for are the obvious bald patches or thinning patches on your head. Do you have like a Christmas tree down the middle of your hairline? Or do you have these little patches on the sides of your head that just are kind of looking a little too much like JoJo Siwa? And most importantly, do you have photos or videos so you can see this over time? I went shopping for a subscriber, Sabrina, almost, 2 years ago now? And I remember in the back of my head as I was walking into the store, I was looking at the camera footage and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a bald spot on my head. Like, what is going on? And I've been using the iRestore because Dr. Dre, who is a dermatologist, got me obsessed with this. She got me obsessed with the white one, the professional one. This one is the elite, and both the professional white one and this black elite one have truly changed my life. I actually can look back at my hair loss. I have videos about all of this if you want to see them. But you can literally see how my hair was thinning and how it started to grow back. Now, I went through a really stressful period in my life recently. I've already spoken about that, but I do think that I had some stress-related hair loss, which was absolutely horrible. And I'm throwing everything but the kitchen sink at my hair because of what Dr. Idris said. She's like, hit it with everything and then you can slowly take things off. Whereas if you do it one at a time, you might be going too far and losing too much. So that's what I'm doing now. And I did switch to the black one because this one, I can use it for 12 minutes a day. Whereas I actually have the white one over here. I love this guy. The white one is great. However, mine got really scratched up because I would throw it in my suitcase. I didn't have a carrying case for it. And this one was 25 minutes a day every couple of days. But I found that it's easier for me to stick to a routine. I have the little battery pack so I can walk around with this and do other things like my skincare or my groceries, or yes, my skincare shopping at Target. Yeah, I actually did that. I got some very strange looks. It was great. But this is done for 12 minutes a day, so it's much easier to create a habit. And that's the other thing, is that you want to have a habit of checking in with your hair. When you take your hair, if you can make a ponytail, does that ponytail feel thicker or thinner than it did before? That could be another clue or another hint to you as to whether or not you're losing too much hair. And of course, when you look at the bottom of the shower or the sink, if you run your fingers through your hair, is more hair falling out than normal. And here's what's so difficult about all of these three things, is that they're all subjective. They're not quantitative, meaning we're not actually counting every single hair that's coming out of our heads. The best data you can get is quantitative data. Photos, counting the hairs that fall out of your head, or even looking at a specific area of scalp and seeing how much hair density there is. I actually went to Korea. It was a Korean hair loss clinic. Apparently those are really common there. And we actually looked at my scalp and how many hairs were protruding out of each follicle to kind of assess where I was at and what it was looking like in the thinning. When I was in Korea, it was before this really traumatic thing happened. And there was a little bit of scalp inflammation, but I can tell you that my hair thickness and density and these three things that I'm telling you to look for, all three of mine completely changed after that experience, because then I came back and, well, you know, life happened after that. Anyways, we kind of spoke about it over there. You can watch that if you want to. I'm gonna work on some follicle stimulation here for now though. So the best thing you can do is get actual measurable data and track that progress. But if you do think that your hair is thinning, either from that measurable data, from photos, or just kind of from grasping your hair and seeing how you feel, what are you supposed to do about it? The good news is that there are things that can be done. First, you want to make sure that you're keeping hair in that resting stage longer, keeping it on your head, and that you're promoting hair to grow in that new stage a little bit faster. Now, making sure that you have low stress levels, making sure that you have a nutritious diet that is giving you what your body needs to actually create hair, and making sure that you're getting enough sleep, enough vitamin D, enough of those things, and even exercise that we're all told that, you know, they're healthy for us and we just never do. Yes, those are important. Start there. But you can also look for circulation to the scalp. This can be done really simply through things like massage or even through a laser and LED helmet like this. So this one from iRestore has 500 LEDs. I'm gonna lift this up and it's gonna stop flashing when I lift it up. And as you can see, this one has about 500. This one has 280 something. This is the professional one that I used to use and I used for almost 2 years now. This is really good and I do love this, but just because I can do this in 12 minutes a day, this has been my new go-to. This is also the most powerful device that you can get at home. It's FDA cleared and doctors and derms do recommend it. And that's the next thing you can look for are over-the-counter treatments. These are treatments that are over-the-counter, meaning you don't need a prescription to get them. You can get things such as stimulating scalp serums, you can get specific hair treatments, you can get LED devices or lasers such as this one, or even gummies. Oh my gosh, I just saw these Vegamore gummies. I haven't taken them yet, but they're like little heart shapes. They seem so cute. I love the iRestore gummies because they're actually vegan. A lot of the gummies have gelatin, and as a plant-based person, I choose not to eat those, but the gummies are fantastic and they're like adult candy. You just don't overdo it, okay? But again, there are nutritional options over the counter. There are some more intense laser or LED options over the counter. And then there are serums or hair products that stimulate the scalp that are over the counter as well. Now there are also prescription options. These you have to get from a doctor or dermatologist who prescribes them to you. And there are other gels and creams and topical products or oil products, things that can actually help prevent hair loss and stop hair from shedding more. Of course, there's also hair transplant surgery. That is a very intense process, but a lot of people do see good results. And especially if you have an area on the scalp that is scarred, maybe from an accident or damage, that scarred area might not grow hair the same. So you might need something like a graft, taking skin from one area and putting it there, or follicle transplants, aka a hair transplant surgery that actually takes hair from one portion and puts it onto another. Now I've shared a little bit about what I'm doing, but I do want to share basically the whole gamut of what I am trying. This is absolutely one of my favorites, and the fact that it has a carrying case now, and you know, I can use it on the go while I'm running around. I get a lot of stares. People ask a lot of questions, but I love it so much that I'm willing to share with them. There was a lady who asked me if it worked for eyebrows, and I was like, you know, I don't know. It should, if you could like get it to cover your eyebrows, but like, I don't know. I'm gonna ask a dermatologist about that. And if you're seeing clumps of hair at the bottom of your shower, start quantifying them, measure them, you know, weigh them and see what's happening. And when in doubt, talk it out with a dermatologist. Again, this is one of my favorites, and a huge thanks to iRestore for supporting the educational content on this channel. This is actually on sale, as is the professional device. If you don't feel like you need the 12 minutes a day and you're fine with doing the 25 minutes every 3 or so days, this one is fantastic. Just again, I've really scuffed it up because I throw it in a suitcase or in my car. If you're on the go, you probably want a carrying case for it because this is nice and precious, but this has lasted a long time. This is like 2 years. I will leave all of those details and even discounts below, but remember that hair or no hair, hair loss is a part of life. Our hair is constantly growing and shedding, and it's completely normal. And I know it's really, really, really hard, including for myself, but we shouldn't let hair loss or acne or our bodies or other things stress us out even more. If there's something that's happening and we don't like it, we can find ways to correct it or deal with it, but we shouldn't be freaking out about it or making it worse on us, because life is hard enough already, you know? And I don't know who needs to hear this, but you're doing a good job. You're doing your best with what you have, and that needs to be celebrated. And I think it's so important because there are days that I wish I could have heard that and nobody told me. And I want you to know that even if you're giving it your best and you're not exactly where you want it to be, you're still doing an amazing job. And getting up and trying is more than half of the battle. And sometimes it's just hard to get out of bed, okay? But we did it today. We did it. And we put on a pretty purple dress. And if that's what it takes to feel better, and we wear a hair helmet, and you know, we parade around public with our beautiful little helmet, then that is what we're gonna do, boo-boo. Always remember to stay hydrated, both orally and topically. Reapply that SPF. Ooh, we need to talk about scalp SPF. And always be beautiful, both inside and out. I love you, and I can't wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.